Writing a book takes a lot of time and energy. So today I'm going to give you 4 ways to determine if your book idea is one worth writing. Hi, I'm Rachel Clare, author, book coach, and developmental editor at Bookbound Journey. And today we're diving into one of the top mistakes I see writers making, and that is writing the wrong book. Now, this is a little bit different from my nonfiction clients to my fiction clients for some of the specifics, but today we're going to focus on writing fiction. The first thing you need to examine, is there an audience for your book? Because I assume you're not writing a book just to write a book, and if you are, then you don't even need to bother with a lot of these tips because you just want to write what you want to write. If you're here because you want to become an author and have a career and actually sell some books, then this question really matters. Because if people aren't going to enjoy your book or want to read your book, then obviously they're not going to buy it. And a big part of this is looking at, will this book meet genre conventions? The reader expects something when they pop open a certain type of book. If they're reading a thriller, they expect it to be action-packed from start to finish, and it's more plot-driven than character-driven. If they're reading a romance novel, well, then they may expect it to be a little bit slower, low-key, not necessarily a ticking time bomb, but even if it's romantic suspense, which does have kind of some of those thriller elements of a high-paced book, they aren't going to have the same types of stakes as a traditional thriller book, and it's going to be very character-driven, because in a romance, the romance is the key driver of the story. So even though there's some kind of suspense and other thing going on, the book will not work if it doesn't have the romance. That's what makes it a romance versus just being a thriller. If you want to learn a little bit more about determining genre conventions and seeing if your idea actually fits in with those, you can check out my other video here where I talk about how to develop story ideas. So along with genre conventions, you also want to look at tropes and see if your book hits the tropes that readers are expecting. Within the romance genre, for an example, you have different types of tropes, which might be like enemies to lovers. Like we see in Beauty and the Beast, right? Hated each other, they were enemies, came together, now they're lovers. That is a trope. If you want to dive a little bit more into tropes and genre expectations, checking out streaming services like Netflix, Amazon, and Hulu, and looking at the types of shows they have, you'll see the common tropes that appear in different genres, whether you're writing something that is, a comedy, a mystery, a thriller, or a romance. Take a look at the shows, see what common themes appear, and that's where you're going to understand that there is no absolutely genuine brand new idea, because people love what they love and they want more of what they love. So give it to them. Next up, this is absolutely crucial. Does something happen on the page? Why would someone want to read this book based on what it's about? Are you looking to educate your reader or entertain your reader? What kind of emotion or experience are you hoping they will take away from the book? You have to make sure that you're delivering on that promise with the plot that you have in your book, with the characters. Everything together has to deliver on what the person is going to get out of this book. So being very clear at the beginning and knowing what you want them to get, how you want them to feel, what you want them to experience, will let you know if you have a good book idea. Let's take a look at a couple of books. Now we have a book, Marley and Me, and The Notebook. Now these are 2 totally different genres of books, but they both have some similar themes and moods that they evoke. They both have kind of this melancholy, bittersweet. There's this beautiful budding relationship with the family and the dog, or with the couple. There's setbacks and challenges, and at the end, not so happy, sad moments, but there's the bittersweetness because they remember the beautiful memories, even though there is a sad and tragic ending. They're both working on similar themes, and they're taking the reader on a journey. It is a journey of evoking emotions, That is the purpose and intent of those books, and it may even be teaching a lesson. So I guess, yeah, there could be a teaching element in a subtle way of the value of having loved, even though you may lose what you love. If you didn't have that to begin with, your life would be a lot emptier. Also along the vein is, does something happen on the page? Does enough happen on the page? Do you have enough of a story idea to carry this over the length of a novel? Or is this story maybe meant to be a short story or a novella? Again, this is something you can flesh out by doing a very simple outline. In my Plot Bunny workbook, I kind of take you through test driving an idea. It doesn't go quite to the extent of fleshing out a whole book, but you can see if you hit plot points and enough that, yeah, I have enough of an idea here. Maybe I need to flesh it out a little bit, or yeah, no, this is a short story. It's really important to know that so that you're not trying to fill your book with fluff or go in thinking you're writing a whole full-length novella and falling short because there's not enough to fill out the story and then being upset because you didn't reach your goal. And lastly, is there a character arc? Your character has to have an arc. There has to be something that happens that changes the person from the beginning of the story to the end of the story. Now, this is true whether you're writing a standalone book, a trilogy of books, or books that are serialized where each book can be read on its own without having to read other books in the series. For example, with cozy mysteries, those run in series. It's like an episode of a TV show. There's a crime that happens, the crime has to be solved, and it's solved. But there is still some kind of a character arc that happens within a serialized book. It's just much smaller, and then the author can spread out a larger character arc over the series. For example, the sleuth could get better at solving crimes over the series of the book. Maybe there's relationship elements, and each subsequent book, they're working on building a relationship or improving a relationship with a family member. Now, don't get scared. You don't have to know the whole character arc over a series if you are doing that. Just make sure that you do have one planned out for each individual book that you're working on. Next up is what makes your book unique. Now, I know, we just talked about how there's no original, 100% totally unique idea, but there has to be something unique about your book. This could be something as simple as a different take on a character or a setting. Maybe it's a play on a trope or a theme that's in another book. Let's dive back into Cozy Mysteryville here. Within Cozy Mysteries, bakeries are huge. It's a really, really popular subgenre within Cozy Mysteries. So if I wanted to write a cozy mystery that was based on the main character owning a bakery, I need to do my own unique take on that. Maybe the bakery is haunted. Okay, that makes it unique. Oh, wait, somebody else has a haunted bakery? That's okay, because it's still going to be unique to me, because I'm going to take my own unique perspective on that and take it maybe a step further. Bakery is haunted, but it's haunted by a ghost from the 1940s who was a very prominent baker in the region. And this ghost is helping to teach the new owner of the bakery how to be an even better baker, giving the family secret recipes that the community has absolutely adored and everybody thought disappeared, and now their bakery is becoming incredibly popular. And what do you know? They start seeing ghosts out and about in town too, and they help the sleuth solve a mystery. All right, I've just taken this idea of a culinary cozy mystery that's been done a million times in a smaller tweak of a ghost in the bakery, and then made it completely unique, my own, with additional twists and turns. And you can do that too for your book. So make sure you take a look and see what makes your book unique but still fits in with reader expectations for the genre. And last but not least, does the book excite you. If the book doesn't have you jazzed up to write it, I'm going to tell you right now, you need to ditch that idea and pick something else. Writing a book takes a crap load of time, energy, sweat, and tears, and if you want to publish it, money. Right? You need to have your book edited, you need to get a book cover, and all of these other things you have to do. If you're going to do traditional publishing, guess what? You still have to do marketing. Yeah, the traditional publisher will do some marketing activities for you, but you are still expected to play an active role in marketing your book. And you're going to want to have your book edited and beautiful before you start sending it out to agents or publishers, because if they see lots of spelling errors, huge plot holes, things like that, your book's not going to get picked up. So there is an investment of money no matter which way you're going. Something else I really encourage people to consider is your why for writing a book and your why for writing this specific book. This could be as simple as, I want to write a book because I've always wanted to write one. It's a passion of mine. That is totally valid. But your why may be more specific to this. I want to write this culinary ghost bakery mystery book because I love baking. Ghosts are so cool. I just love the supernatural stuff. And I haven't seen a culinary mystery with a ghost quite take this route of someone from the 1940s. It's really exciting. I love history. I want to explore food from the 40s. So you can see like my why of exploring that just got bigger and bigger and bigger. And I can see that my excitement behind my why is driving my curiosity to write this book. Also, on the opposite side, if you say your why to write this book is because this is the book that's going to make me a lot of money, I want you to unpack that. Are you only writing this specific book because you want to write to the market as it is now? Or are you also genuinely interested in the genre of this book and the plot, the characters? Does it excite you, or is it just for a payday? If it's just for a payday, you gotta boot that idea to the door. And if you think you're gonna make millions off of one single book, I gotta tell you, that's probably 99% not going to happen. It takes a lot of books to get traction, and even if you do go and traditionally publish, if you are a new author, you're likely going to get a very small royalty up front, and it's going to take quite a while for that book to pay out after it's published, which, let's be honest, if you're going traditional publishing route, maybe it's going to take you a year to write a book and another maybe 12 to 18 months before that book hits the shelf. So that royalty that you're going to get a year from now when you actually pitch and get an agent isn't going to carry you over, so you can see how this goes. Writing a single book is not going to make you rich. So if this is a get-rich-quick scheme, you can just turn the video off. That's not going to happen. You have to be in this for the long haul and work to build your readership and your backlog of books before you're going to start seeing a return. But again, your book has to be a good book that people are going to want to buy and read. Hence, the list of things you need to work on from this book. If your book really doesn't cut it and you need to get back to the drawing board, again, go ahead and check out my video on coming up with book ideas and grab that freebie down below to help wrangle your plot bunnies and take one for a test drive. I'd love to know which of these tips you found most useful, so make sure you go ahead and drop that in the comments below. Also, if there's another topic you'd like me to make a video on, totally reach out. And don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button before you leave. That's all I got for today. Go and write something that lights you up.